Here we go. Let me say real quick that we had quite a few of our guys that went to the GTOA clinic this week. They did a great job down there. There's one thing that I felt like was a really beneficial thing that they had was Chris Bailey has put together a book over the last 2 or 3 years called the NFHS Penalty Enforcement Hopper Book. This is based on something that Ed Hockley did in the NFL, where he basically takes every type of foul and talks about how those things are enforced, simplifies it a little bit, and they gave that to all of the participants of the clinic. I'm kind of waiting to get a link for you about how you can get one of these, but I would encourage all of you to get a copy of this, study it. It makes enforcing penalties and not making mistakes in enforcement very, very much easier. So we want to do that. Secondly, let me remind you that the test will open on July 29th. I've been telling people July 23rd, got that in my head somehow, but it opens on July 29th. So be studying your books and be preparing. It's a different test this year than it has been. Sherry's trying to do something a little bit different. So not even she knows exactly what that's going to result in. But so be prepared, get ready, get those things taken. If you'd like to go to the state meeting this Saturday in Shawnee, you should have gotten an email today from the OSSAA with the agenda of all of that. If you don't make it to one of the state rules meetings, you will need to watch it online. They'll put it online here in about 2 weeks. So be sure to do that. Crews, get your dues in. We're getting close to the season. At the end of the session tonight, we'll go through the youth certification and get that all laid out for you. There are a few changes this year, and just to be sure that everybody understands everything, I've gone through their rules addendum, which is about 50 pages, and I've highlighted the things that are important to us as officials. I've thrown away the pages that don't talk to us, and we'll go through that tonight. I've done the little card like we have every year, but I'm actually going to send you a PDF of that whole rules addendum with all of those things so that you can see exactly what the wording of the rule is, and hopefully that'll solve a few things. Okay. Other than that, we'll turn it over to Jared and let him give us what he's got for us tonight.
Well, here we go. I'm going to put up the
share screen.
Share screen.
You want this one right here? So, yeah, there you go.
Everybody seeing that? Oh.
What's that? Yes, I got it started.
All right. So I'm going to give you a few minutes. Go through in our continual pursuit. All right, here we go. On to this week's. I think there's five questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 8 or 10 minutes here to go through those. Question.
Take that bottom thing, read the last thing.
Yeah, let me see. Does anybody know how to do that? Other than just think it would go away?
Oh, that's better. Thank you, sir.
All right, everybody making it all the way through? Not yet, not yet, not yet. We had our NFL Zoom today, and I took my rules test. It's 30 questions, and it was on a class marker website. Some of you might have been familiar, or might be familiar with it. Well, my computer shut down halfway through it. And I'm meticulous about going through and write it down, and I take all 90 minutes. So for me to go into my computer and have to deal with that, I mean, seconds matter. So it took me an extra 10 minutes to get my computer back going. I'm on the phone with people in the office and saying, hey, you know, this. So
You have your charger. You sure it's plugged in?
it's got a full battery. Anyway, the last 10 minutes of questions I had to scramble. I passed, so we're good. So we're all subject to rules and understanding them. Some of us know them better, some of us don't know them quite so well. We ready to go through them? All right, Telequal, you take number 1. Can you hear us?
Go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. You don't have to read it word for word because everybody can see it, but just explain to us how you got to and what is your answer.
Go ahead. Hang on. Yeah, we would if we could. There we go.
Better read it. I couldn't sit back there. First and 10 on news recording.
So they're going in.
So they hold it when you go out of bounds. They're holding being marked the 41, right?
No.
Oh, we're going.
Previous spot. Yeah, versus behind signs.
Yeah.
Previous spot.
Previous spot.
Go for it. Go for it.
You guys got your answer?
Previous spot, coach. 10 yards.
Previous spot?
Yeah.
10 yards previous spot.
Okay, everybody good with 10 yards and previous spot? Do you see why it is? Why is it the previous spot? Because the holding was behind the line of scrimmage. A couple of years ago, that changed, right?
Right.
A few years ago, you would administer it from the 41, but now that rule has changed. It made it easier. Now, you still have to know when you have fouls around the line of scrimmage. Don't make life so difficult for yourself. If they are at or near the line of scrimmage, just make them at the line of scrimmage. Now, if you get significantly beyond the line of scrimmage, now it starts to matter because we say what? Inches in this game matter. What is significantly beyond the line of scrimmage? All right, Marty says out of the neutral zone, 2 yards. Anyone want to narrow it down a little bit more?
Well, if they're past line of scrimmage, they throw the ball even a yard, you can't go to 2. Even if they're 1 yard, you can give them a 1 yard run, but you got to penalize them back from that.
Okay.
So even if they go 1 yard and throw the football, it's an illegal forward pass.
All right. So now we brought up the fact that let's say what if we have an illegal forward pass? You can't have an illegal forward pass until he's 1 yard beyond. So you would have to administer that penalty from where? 1 yard beyond. You couldn't go to the previous spot and administer.
I do agree with Marty on the other.
All right, so you're going to have to judge line of scrimmage officials. That's usually going to be your area of the field that you're going to take precedent in and have to cover. Where are you going to mark these holdings that take place? How far down the field are you going to make it germane to the game in order to say, okay, he's a yard, 2 yards downfield. All right, I've got to mark that spot. And now we administer it as opposed to just getting your flag on the ground because we have a hole behind the line of scrimmage, because it does not matter. Everybody see that? These are some of the things that you work through. And when we come back from this test, these are some of the things you're going to, from your table, you're going to talk about. You're going to say, okay, look, well, let's go back to this and let's talk about this mechanic. How do you throw your flag? Do you mark the spot? There's fouls where you mark the spot with your action of throwing your flag. There are penalties that you don't mark your spot when you throw your flag. And what's the difference? So be thinking about that. All good discussion. All right. Marty, your table take number 2.
May 2nd and 10 at the 30. So they're going in. Running back 822 runs to the B25, which is beyond the line of scrimmage, and fumbles the ball. During the fumble, so while it's a loose ball, A66 grabs and twists B22's face mask at the B23. A68 recovers the ball at the B20. All right, so we're with both the foul and the end of the run are beyond the line of scrimmage. And so you're going to force the foul from whichever one is further back, either the end of the run or the spot of the foul, whichever one hurts them the most. So in this case, it's going to be the spot of the foul, which was the B23. So, but it didn't go out of bounds. So.
All right, did everybody hear in Tahlequah or in our remote? Uh-oh.
The end of the run. Yeah, right. Yeah. The end of the related run. That's right. The related run is 25. So that would be the end of the related run is the enforcement spot.
All right, so when you have a loose ball foul, what are the 2 most important things? And Marty brought it up. The spot of the what and the spot of the what? The spot of the fumble.
Spot of the fumble
What?
and the end of the run.
All right, yeah. The end of the run is going to be your fumble, right?
Correct.
So the spot of the fumble and the spot of the what?
Spot of the foul.
So the spot of the fumble and the spot of the foul. Whenever you have a foul during the loose ball, and then you take it and you say, all right, which one is going to hurt the offending, the team that commits the foul, which one is going to hurt them the worst? And then you administer it there and mark it off accordingly. Now, what happens if they was to have recovered this ball behind all of these 2 spots? What happens if they was to have recovered the football behind the fumble spot and the foul? Would you administer this foul from the dead ball spot?
B could decline the penalty and keep the football. If B recovers the fumble.
Yeah, but let's say just like our question, A recovers this ball. Let's say they recover it way back here at the 28. Behind all of this stuff, the fumble goes backwards, and we recovered at the B28.
Well, you can't enforce from there, but that may be a choice.
So
The end of the run is where the ball is fumbled if the foul takes place while the ball is loose.
Like you said, whichever one penalizes them the most, if they lose yardage that's further back than what the penalty would bring it,
then they can decline the bill and take it spot.
But you
Yeah.
can't enforce the penalty from that
Yeah, no,
recovery
you can't, you
spot
have to do it for
if
the
the
phone.
foul took place during the loose ball.
Exactly.
There's always the option to decline and take the results of the play, but now the question is, can you administer that penalty from the dead ball spot? All right, lots of people here saying no because we added a what if. So put that one in the back of your mind. That's going to be some homework. So question number 2, we made a what if, and you got some homework. All right, question number 3. Bert, you guys take number 3. Uh-oh, sorry, you got help there. Marty, do we have other remote locations on there?
Yes, well, we've got some individuals. We have Benita. We have Benita.
Okay.
Benita. So it's fine.
All right, so what are we doing with this roughing the passer? Now remember a while ago we said what we were going to do with a loose ball. Don't get confused here. So some are saying we're going back to the previous spot here. Some are saying tack it on. So we're gonna tack it on. Benita, Tahlequah, you guys good with tacking it on or going back to the previous spot?
Tahlequah's gonna tack it on.
Okay. All right.
Skytook's going to tack it on also.
Okay. Our remote locations, it sounds like now everybody in the room has agreed. We after crew discussion, we're gonna add 15, right? All right, we're gonna add 15 to the end of this play. Good, good. All right, we're just gonna keep right on going around the room. Tony, your group has got, and then I think we'll let Benita can hear us. You guys will do the last one. Tony, you do the next to the last one there. A1 and 10 at the 25.
Once you take the handoff and runs to the A30. It's up to 25, right? Okay, so we're getting 5. And it's tackled there. During the run, A66 blocks 22 below the waist, at 24. Left behind the line. So, previous spot. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Everybody good with that? Illegal block. Now, this is where I'm asking a
Block it.
question.
Blocking below the waist is a 15-yard penalty.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. Is an illegal block below the waist 10 or 15? All right, remember now, that's a huge difference. If you administer a 10-yard foul and it's supposed to be 15, remember, inches matter. That is a huge difference in penalty administration. If you go from the 10 to the 20 to the 25, that could be the difference in a field goal at this age. So now remember, take a look at the A24. It is where? It's behind the line, right? So that's what we talked about a while ago. Not worried about the spot with your flag. You just know it took place. Close line play. Can't happen, right? With the NFHS, there's really no blocking below the waist. We looked at a play 2 or 3 weeks ago where he kind of came up, I think it was the J game, where he stood up for just a second and then went low. All right. Players just play and operate around the fact that you can't block low. So these are vicious penalties, or vicious acts. All right, the last one. I don't know if anybody from Benita responded to this. This is the best one. All All right, back corner. You got to jump on this one. If Anita answers it, then we got two groups. This is where Rule 2 will come in handy probably more than any of the others.
Are you ready for an answer on this one?
Yes, yeah, if you're ready.
All right. We believe it is 1st and 10 from the B30, the key being during the punt, which means he hasn't received it yet. Therefore, everything he did after the reception of the punt is nullified and it goes from his catch point.
All right, good deal. Benita's going to put it at the end of the kick. All right, and you get in your definitions, it talks about the end of the kick, which is in this question what? The 40, right? Now, what happens if he muffs it and he continues to roll on the ground and then he picks it up?
Still in kick status until.
Still in kick status, is right, until he picks it up and possesses. So if he attempts to catch it at the 40, muffs it, goes on the ground, let's say it goes forward 3 yards. And now since we're going from the B 40, we're going forward here. He goes to the B 43 and picks it up. Now the end of the kick would be the B 43. That's why you have to make sure, back judges, you don't mark it until he physically possesses it and then begins his run. Then that's where the end of the kick will be. Because we don't know what happened up here. Because while the ball's in flight, you can have lots of stuff go on. And just like we heard, that's where you will administer your penalty from. The end of the kick, anything that happens during that loose ball transition. Now, we've heard lots of discussion about loose ball. We administered a penalty here about one way when the ball was loose, and we administered it another way when the ball was loose, and now we just administered it another way while the ball was loose. 3 different intervals where the ball was loose. Fumble, pass, and a kick. And they all presented what? Different administrations. So you have to know all of these things. Yes, they're all loose ball, but they carry what is called exceptions to the rule and different variances which we'll get in there. And when you start studying them, Rule 2 will apply here in a certain way, and it will apply here a certain way, and here a certain way. Amongst all of these rules, that's why it's very, 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 very important to spend lots of time studying these, because as you can see, just the overall knowledge is very, very, very easy. I was on the phone a while ago having a discussion with somebody that spent 35 years in the FHS rule book, going back and forth whether this should be offset or whether it be administer them in the order of occurrence. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's very important that you lock everything you can away, because when you get out on the field, you'll be like, oh, God. I don't know, there's not anybody that was with us last year when we got to Concord. We did a game with Concord, and we had our brains froze up on ineligible man downfield and illegal touching. So when you get in the heat of the battle, you're just like, hey, we know both of them are 5 yards. I don't know which one we're going to minister. Just move the ball 5 yards and let's go. We get that way. All right. There were 5 of us there. I was there, and this is the way we did it. So we just
Last one.
had a meltdown.
The answer is incorrect.
All right. Last one's incorrect. So let's go back and look.
The finance at the lead 40, they returns it to the 840. You can either take it back 10 yards when you kick it, or they can add it to that 40 yard, at the 40 yards, tack on 10 yards. They had the option.
Okay.
So
Look,
the
let's
foul
see
is
who.
against me, not against that.
So
So that's the kicking team.
So who fouled during this? Let's make sure we're correct. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
It's B, see, B22, is that the receiving team? Oh, is that the receiving team or the kicking team?
B is the,
Because I'm used to K and.
yeah, B is
Okay.
B is the R. Yeah, so B is the
That's what I wanna
receiver.
make sure. Because if it was the other way around, they just had it.
Yeah.
So I was confused.
Yeah, no. I guess I need to start.
One thing about, he's talked about 3 different scenarios here. one thing that was really impressed on me through going through these things at the clinic was I need to be very specific about when that foul happens. That is information that your white hat is going to want from you, is if that ball on a pass, if that happened while that ball is in the air, there's a difference than after it's caught. On a kick, if it's during the kick, there's a difference than either before the kick or after it's received. So when you throw a foul, one of the pieces of information you definitely need to have in your head so that you can pass it on to the white hat is when that foul occurred.
If it's post scrimmage kick or not.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and when the foul occurred and where the foul occurred, obviously behind the line or beyond, and beyond the end of the related run, all of those kind of things. But all of that is information that your white hat will need from you when you throw that flag. So thinking about it, and a number, very important.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Now, just like what he has done, each table and each location. And if you feel comfortable and you're on a remote individual Zoom, you feel comfortable speaking up, you're going to do just that. You're going to get together and come up with from your table, and you're going to speak about it or ask questions or make statements. This is going to be your time for the next 10 or 15 minutes to speak about that. What makes it a post-possession or scrimmage kick foul? There's certain things that must be done, and a certain team must be in possession at the end of a kick before you get certain exceptions. All of those things. Mechanics. How can we speed the game up? How can we go from 2.5 hours to an hour and 48 minutes, 50 minutes, 47 minutes, 52 minutes on average across all 7, 8, 9, 10 crews that we have? And what are some of the things that are very easy to trim that time away? So amongst yourself, you got about 10 minutes to come up with things, and then you're going to have a spokesperson say, okay, we've got a question about, or we have a statement about, or we think we should, however you want to address. All right, you got 10 minutes. From what you've either learned at camp, clinic, where you've been, or what you've heard from this point. And if you're a table full of people that say, I don't understand any of this, then you should have 3 or 4 questions come out of this. Put your hand in the air and say, hey, because we've got way too much experience here for you to walk out and go, oh man, I might just need to not come back because I don't understand any of this. Because we don't want you to not come back. We have to have all of you. We want you to know and feel comfortable because you're what? Less than 4 weeks, less than 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away. 4 or 5. Right at a month, 4 weeks.
Yeah, scrimmages.
Yeah. Now, to get to everybody, you don't have to make a 15-minute dissertation. Just 3 or 4 minutes, ask a question, make a statement, then we'll move on so we can get everybody.
Foul takes place during that period of time. Right. If they happen after exception. Has to be here. Now we got to if there's nothing else, it's behind that. Chris Bader said, all right, so who are you talking to? I think our best bet is to talk to.
This afternoon,
Because I went straight to
Now, what did it say?
for 5 versus 15. One team gets a 5-yard dead ball, and then one of them gets a 15-yard dead ball. So see the spot in order of encouragement. Do not offset it.
There you go.
Yeah, but
That's pretty. That's pretty.
So, including non-player and unsportsmanlike.
So he described the scenario.
What's that?
He described the scenario.
Yeah. The scenario that describes false start, defender goes up and unnecessarily. Yeah, well, that's what he's talking about. Because we never did cover the green. That's what he said. No, that's why you brought it up again.
Yeah, no, we were all over the map.
Yeah.
We'll make sure before we leave, we'll get it straight. Change it back. All right, are we ready? All right, Telequal. You guys will lead out, then Benita, you guys will be next about anything you want to talk about, mechanics, rules, combined together, anything that can influence the game, anything that can help us. It's basically just as a group or individuals that you put together at your locations. It's just your time for about 5-8 minutes here to ask or make statements for us to better ourselves with. All right, Telequal. You're on the clock.
Okay, very good. I don't know if this is really what you want us to talk about, but we were talking about the new wording on the overtime fouls that we actually learned at the clinic this last week, how they reworded that now a foul during a scoring play on the last play of regulation can now be taken into overtime, where the old rule said it had to be on the next kickoff. But now it can go to the succeeding spot. And I was just talking to him about this Hopper book that Chris Bailey wrote. And it makes penalty enforcement a whole lot easier to understand. So that's just kind of what we were discussing.
All right, so there's new penalty, it sounds like new penalty enforcement options at the end of the game going into overtime. So make sure you're familiar with that, make sure you're with it, because you don't want to mess those up. Because obviously it's a huge, huge opportunity there. Don't mess things up going into overtime.
They talked about it. Talking to the coach, trying to explain that to the coach.
Say
Don't take it. Now,
Yeah.
That's, I think that was going to be the hardest thing to try to explain to the coach.
Yeah, it's just another instance where communication is gonna be very important. You may never happen to you, but if they choose to put it on the try and, or if they choose to put it on the spot for overtime and then they don't get the extra points, they can't come back.
No, they can't.
So,
Those decisions are.
yeah, that's
So
a very simple.
The old way was it they only could take it to overtime?
No, they could only take it on the try.
They could only take it on the try. Now it can carry to overtime. Okay. So it can,
The old rule had it.
Have to try.
Yeah, they've got to make the decision before the try, and this does carry over into any subsequent overtime as well.
okay.
What's the philosophy?
Now wait a minute. You guys we don't have a kickoff in overtime, right? You would just go you 10 yards and now you administer your penalty.
It will either be first and 5 or it'll be first and goal at the
It's
25.
Kickoff, you don't have a kickoff in overtime, so it did not say subsequent spot.
I see.
Now it says subsequent spot, so the subsequent spot during the game is gonna be the kickoff.
It makes it easier.
So can you can you administer, is it all penalties, 5, 10, 15 yards, live ball and dead ball can go to overtime?
It's a defensive foul on the last play as time runs out. That may be able to put it into overtime. And yes, it can be a 5. It can be, because it's on a scoring play.
What if it's a dead ball foul?
What about it? Yeah, here's the question. What if it's a dead ball foul? What do we have, like an unsportsmanlike foul that just tied it up or 1 point short? And A gets an unsportsmanlike foul.
Well, then you go back. This is only fouls during one we're talking about is only a foul during the scoring play on the last play. If it's then you just got to go the other way back to your old rule. The only one they changed was just the scoring play when regulation runs out on that play, and it could send it into overtime.
So it's just live ball fouls?
Yes.
We have a little confusion. Some are saying that there's dead ball, any foul.
Yeah, according to the count.
If it's a dead ball, then you're automatically going to take it into
Wait a
overtime.
minute. Let's hear it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's let Telequal finish. What are you saying?
Okay, this right here says fouls after last play of regulation and before the first down of overtime can only be enforced at the succeeding spot. Fouls during or after a scoring play in overtime, since there are no kickoffs, you just carry it over. So yes, on a dead ball, you've always been able to, haven't you, Fred, taking it over and overtime? Because the play's already over. And the
so 8 fouls would be able to go there.
whatever choice. I wish I had that.
All right, so that brought that good exercise because it brought out we've got to study this. This is a big deal Because if you go and influence a 15-yard instead of having a 10-yard first and goal, now you back them up 15 yards and you got first and 10 from the 25. You got a big disadvantage if you're.
No, Jared, you got first and goal at the 25, not first and 10 in
Oh,
overtime.
you're not going to set up. You're not going to set up the change from first
Nope.
and 25.
No, it'll be first and 25 at first and goal.
Did they clarify that?
Yeah.
Hey,
You can get a first down only if it's over.
The only time you can get a first down in overtime is one of the automatic first downs.
Just the down.
Any of the 5 roughings.
Cut your throat if you got a 15-yard foul that will carry over it.
That's why you carry it over.
Yeah, you can't.
But the issue, like Tony said, is if you choose to put it over, you still got to score that 1 point to make it a tie. And you also don't know whether you're going to be offense or defense when you get to overtime. So it may influence the choice.
Coin toss will determine that.
Yeah, so just here's the moral of this story. Study. And then when you get in that situation, make sure you spend a little extra time. If you do have a foul, go spend some time with the coach and say, hey, here's what's getting ready to happen to you. And then go to the other coach and say, hey, here's what's getting ready to happen to them. So everybody just slow down and make sure everybody's on the same page. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Don't just blow
Jared.
through. Yes.
Hey, I did find this deal on
listen.
on a dead ball after a touchdown on that play. If it's a dead ball after a touchdown, you can only do it on the try or succeeding kickoff. No overtime. So if it happens on a dead ball after the touchdown, it can only be on the try or succeeding kickoff, which if it's going into overtime, we don't have a kickoff. So you can't take it over to overtime.
That's what this rule change or modification addresses though.
Yeah. He's looking at that.
That's what this editorial thing addresses. It allows.
After the try, you could. After the try. You see,
This
try
is
is tied up.
fouls during the touchdown. The only thing they changed was during the touchdown. During a successful live ball play.
Now carried over.
Yeah, where it didn't used to be.
Yeah, it used to be you had to take it then there.
All right, so are we good? We got a little homework to do. All right, Marty, quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, Benita, you were up.
We talked more to your point of speeding up games. So just talking about game management as far as like during dead balls, timeout, injury, that kind of thing. Staying on your wing guys, staying on the sideline with the huddle so that when you get a whistle from the back judge, you're getting people out of huddles a little quicker. Not allowing them an extra minute or two every time there's a stop in action. Just kind of looking a little more professional by staying with them and getting them out of huddles and stuff a little faster.
All right, everybody hear that from Benita? About just staying with dead ball action. Now, I know that they get a certain amount of time, and the great point was speed things up during the dead ball. And something we experimented with, and we had 0 complaints. And like I said, we embedded ourselves in the NFHS last year amongst high school. And the reason we did it, number one, to fill in some gaps, have some fun. We enjoyed it, but also to see where we could kind of, let's push this just a little bit. And I realized that there is a set number of seconds and amount of time that you're supposed to have with timeouts. And during the first part of the season, when you got the heat on, we don't want to play with it there. Give them a little bit of extra time and give them the full amount that they can give. We don't want to do it there. But when the heat breaks, when they get to the sideline, by the time you give your third, this is a timeout, an official timeout. The time has already started. Don't start your clock back, judges, whenever they get over to the coach. As soon as the referee finishes his signal, the time has started. If it takes them 10, 15 seconds to get to the coach, that's on them. And then by the time you get your ready for play signal, needs to be when the timeout is over, not with them standing on the sideline. We got the back judge to give us a 35-second signal. When the timeout reached 35 seconds, he would blow his whistle. That was indication that the team's going to be back right on the field, ready to play. That in a minute, I think it's a minute, don't you have a full minute, 50 seconds? That as soon as that timeout length was over, we were starting the 25-second play clock. And we trimmed away an enormous amount of time. Now, you got to be on your horse. You can't be standing in the middle of the field. You can't be taking any time off. As soon as the referee gets done signaling, his timeout signal, the play clock or your time for your timeout has started. Then at 35 seconds after he goes like this for the final time, 35 seconds, back judge blows his whistle. From that point forward, now at the 50-second mark, you're going to start the 25-second play clock. And if they're not out on the field, then it starts. They will adjust to you. The game will speed up. We get way too many where these 1-minute timeouts turn into 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and then it takes forever for them to get back out on the field. Nobody wants to watch that. We want them to get to the sideline, get back out on the field, and get ready to play. All of the crazy stuff will stop. That's where we really found that the players were they can't handle that pace. They're wore out. And then they just want to play. They go to the sideline. So along Benita's point, 1-minute timeouts are by the time you get here and by the time you set it ready for play. So they really get a minute and 25 seconds. Everybody got it? Now those are suggestions, and I know some of you are going to be, oh, because that's time for me to rest. Whatever. I'm just telling you, your game will go from 3 hours and 20 minutes down to an hour and 50. And everybody will just play football. So just experiment with it a little bit. Some of you may already do that. Good point, Benita. Thank you. All right, Marty, anything?
We just talked about again, all the information that's needed when you have multiple fouls on the play, when you've got double fouls. Being able to recognize the end of the related run on a loose ball pass, okay, a loose ball play. So again, we talked about the end of the related run being the fumble on something like that, but on a pass where there's a foul while the ball is in the air, the end of the related run is where the quarterback released the ball. So you have to think through all of those things so you have proper enforcement. One of the things that last week Ethan was here showing us officiate IQ, they talked about that at the clinic, how that one of the things that was the very most common in their grading that we were getting wrong was after enforcements, where the ball is spotted, all of those different kind of things, where a previous spot foul, we would go back, but it would end up being on the other hash because that's where the play ended up, rather than going back to where it was on this hash and taking your 10 yards and all of that type of thing. So all of those elements make your game crisper, like Jared was saying, but also lend to your credibility with the coaches and everybody that you know what you should be doing and how that should be running, and that saves an awful lot of butt chewing on the side.
Yeah, that's a great point. And PH is not here. He can't defend himself. Maybe he'll log on. I talk about him every now and then. Because the umpire, and I don't want to just overshadow it, but we had a great time. But the important thing for him was sprint to the football, get it administered, and let's go. Because as soon as the coach got his headset off and he was coming out after us, we were already done administering and it was ready. The play clock was running, and he was like, "Oh God, I don't have time to grab that. I'm gonna get my headset back on. I'm gonna call plays." So that is extremely important. Go get the ball, get it marked off 5, 10, 15. And at the end of the game, he was dripping wet with sweat because he knew that false start, 25-second play clock, and we were off and running. You know, they don't have time to react. Oh, I got to call my play. I don't have time to worry about what just happened. So all of that was just move. And so it's a lot of work, but that's what we're here to do. So those are good points. Thank you. Next group.
One thing I wanted to talk about was make sure that we always have a signal at the end of the play. Okay, speed the game up. You can get on the radio, give him a number. Okay, we'll have a good mechanic, good signal. Okay, pass interference here. That's already starting the progression right there. You can get on the radio to your white hat, the number, type of foul, and we're moving along.
And I think you guys can hear, I hope. You know, that we had a great point here, the preliminary signals and making sure that we're getting communication. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you have to communicate to players, coaches, and fans are your signals. They can't hear you talking to each other. So good preliminary signals. I saw some video today where I saw a good first down signal. It was like this, but it was, everybody knew that it was a first down. All right. So good preliminary signals to everybody. That lets everybody know. And I know we don't have TV broadcast partners, but that's what those preliminary signals are for, to let everybody know that, hey, I know it's a holding against so-and-so, and then we move on. So good.
That also lets the rest of the crew know what their next action needs to be. You know, so they're not having to wait all this time. They begin working on what that next action is going to be.
Jared, real quick, at the meeting, they had a site that you can go to called reftest.net. I've used it many a times. It's unbelievable because it covers every category in the rule book that you can go specific to that category and read them, and it'll give you questions specific to that, like batting, illegal kicking, pass interference, or you can go to general and it just mixes all the questions up. So you look at the question on one side, you flip it over, and the answer is on the back side. It's like an index card. It's phenomenal. It's a fantastic site to take your test.
What was the name of that?
Called reftest.net.
Reftest.net.
It's a fantastic site. It really is.
And notice net, not com.
Exactly.
Net, not com. Reftest.net.
All right. Next group.
We're just kind of discussing mechanics as well. I went to the camp and it was, you know, we're from the Edmonds crew and he didn't like using radio. I love James. He's called me on Christmas. And he wasn't real big on radio, so it took a lot of time
To get used to radio.
how quickly we could, like in the game, like 7 seconds, we had a ball spotter, here we go. And it started with that good preliminary season.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's such a big deal to keep the game moving. It really does mean a lot when you're sitting in the stands and you as a crew are really working hard for the players, coaches, and those of us that are sitting there watching the game. There's nothing greater than to see the game flow. When you get together as a group to administer and then you come out with a quick false start, it's like, oh God, we had to go through all that for a false start. You know, unless you come out with this big, elaborate penalty administration, then just it's a false start. Get Paul Harvey up there and get it marked off, and let's go. Fast as you can go, fast as you can go, fast as you can go. You don't need to go together. You don't need to take steps up, referee. Everybody, if you've got the white hat on, you don't have to move. If you know it's a false start, your umpire or line of scrimmage officials give you the preliminary signal and point right where you're at. Just dead ball, false start, and then you're off and running. You don't even have to move. And then you set it ready for play, and then we're moving on. So those are all good points, good mechanics. Back corner.
Oh, wait just a minute, Jared. Isaac had a
Oh, yes.
question.
One thing that I liked hearing from Chad Craig at the clinic was he talked about play progression. Where I believe that we'll see the bigger picture if we go from pre-snap to keys to threats to zones. And he emphasized to not look for fouls, but kind of more so let those threats that become fouls stand out, and then we can call those.
Yeah, you know, and that's another great point, and that feeds right back into the flow of the game. It will reduce the amount of penalties whenever You don't look for things. Let them jump out at you. Let them present themselves so everybody knows. You know, big holding calls, big safety fouls, you know, big flinches and false starts that are clearly before the play, and defenders that are clearly lined up in the neutral zone, as opposed to somebody that you can go in between the play and say, hey, number 58, back up just a little bit. And those are all managing the game. Remember, players, coaches, and fans. And we're embedded in that. It's a big deal. We're just as much part of that and making that flow. So good points. Bert, we got 2 more groups. Anything?
Pretty well covered everything we was talking about. We have figured out. I got let's conversation there, but we all covered what we had.
Tony, moving along.
Yeah, we talked the ball spots, you know, stuff like that, spot fouls, half the distance of the goal, make sure you know where you're at, what's going on, you got, half the distance of the goal. You know, just a lot of that stuff that happens on the field, like you said, can be taken care of fairly quickly. If you don't try to look and get into it. We talk about holding, you know, if the running back's already 3 yards down the field, you know, we don't want to throw a hole behind the running back. You know, we don't want to throw a hole on this hash, balls on this hash.
Right. Good point. So far, everything that we've talked about is like the flow of the game. To manage it, make sure it presents well, and I think we're all headed and got our mindset in the right direction. So coming out of the clinic, we wanted to make sure that we had all of those because I knew there was lots of discussion. So we wanted to make sure we got all that out here. We got one last group. Back corner.
Yeah, I'll ask it. I'm a new guy, and a couple weeks ago we had the big offset, not offset, and we were still talking about it tonight. So my question is, what are the stipulations for penalties to offset, whether it's live ball, dead ball, whatever? When do those offset, and when do they have to then become sequential?
That's a great question. And like I said, I prefaced this meeting with I am not an NFHS rules guru, but during the course of this meeting, we've already changed what we said in the beginning. It is not offsetting. You administer our scenario from a couple of weeks ago in the order of occurrence. We found it word for word, and I think one of the GTOA manuals they put out, our scenario of false start, comes across, hits the guy, is spelled out word for word here. And according to this manual, you administer it 5 and then go back 15. Now,
Can I answer his question?
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Live ball fouls, regardless of how many, if you had 5 and 1, they're offset. Live ball fouls. Dead ball fouls, any equal number will offset. Any remainder will all be enforced in order of occurrence. In a situation where you have multiple dead ball fouls by opposite teams that are different enforcements, they'll be enforced in order of occurrence. Both will be enforced in order of occurrence. Yeah. Live ball, dead ball will also both be enforced in order of occurrence.
They won't offset.
They will not offset. Live ball, dead ball will not offset. And another thing about live ball, dead ball, the tricky part of that is that a live ball foul that causes you to have a repeat the down, it gets a little bit tricky because of usually a dead ball, the play has gone, so you don't go back the second time. So a live ball, dead ball, yes, go back to previous spot and repeat the down, then you have the dead ball, so it's second instead of third. Yes.
Barney, something we've seen a lot, I think it's becoming more of a deal is people emulating snap downs or running up the line, stomping, clapping their hands. We do it a couple times last year, but they said they never heard a penalty or anything, so. I don't know if everybody else is listening or what.
No, if they come up that on the scrimmage side, if they come up clapping, they'll make the snapper and go clap.
That's called the disconcerting.
So what would be the,
Let's call it a few times, even if they don't do it, just so they'll have heard.
You gotta remember, the quarterback is the snap count, and if the defense comes up and does the same thing, so they're simulating their snap count, if they're jump, you got, and whoever, and coach telling you never heard it, I find that.
Well, I had it a couple times, I had other officials tell me that was.
There. It's always there. Were they basketball?
Must be college.
Well, and I will say this too, they will argue, sometimes the defensive coordinators will argue, well, we have calls that we make, we've called this or whatever. They can't do anything that simulates the snap.
Right, I'm just saying last year I've seen a lot more than I've seen for 3 years.
that's a good point. So let's just because here's what's been happening since the quarterback became visible and we started having silent counts. We've tried at all levels to try to get this shut down, get it stopped. If someone on the defensive side comes up and is within a yard of the line of scrimmage and does anything that would cause the offense to react that you don't believe is a football move, if they are not trying to time, now they can come up and they can go and they can try to time it, and you just, as line of scrimmage and referee umpire that are up there, you're just going to have to discern whether it was a football move or whether he was trying to get somebody to jump. Now, if they're doing that and no one jumps, then just go warn them. Hey, what you're doing right there would have been a foul on you if somebody would have reacted to you, and explain to him why. Go to the coach and explain to him why. Now, if they do that and cause a false start, then you have to put it on the defense. Now, the signal, I don't know what the signal is. We make it a delay of game on the defense. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you defend it with an explanation, because it's not going to be completely defined real well because nobody's going to see it. The second thing, which is really, really, really dirty, but it happens all the time. I'm trying to get the referees to buy into this, but it's like pulling teeth. The quarterback will simulate the snap in an elaborate motion, big, elaborate motion, and it will cause the defense to come off. As soon as the defense moves in the neutral zone, what is it? Play's over, right? And it's a foul on who? The defense. But who should it really be a foul on? The quarterback. We can't get the referees to step up and get this shut down because it's always 3rd and short, 4th and short. He'll do this, and then the defense will come up, and then the offense starts celebrating. I see it on video. I just want to come through there and go, call up all stars.
I mean, we used to do that. They were under center and they did
It's
the jerk
the
with their
same-
head.
exact same thing, but it's much more elaborate because their whole body is now exposed and now they're going like this. Now, if they do it you have to really watch. And referees, you have to have the quarterback in your sight, and you have to know that on 3rd and short, 4th and short, this is becoming really prevalent. All right? It's becoming a part of the game. Just like the no play used to be, right? No play. So we'd run it on 3rd and short, 4th and short, and if you just barely move in a neutral zone, hey, we get the first down. Better keep your head still, don't move. But now we're not calling it, so they're getting real elaborate. Question?
I had Soto last year, and they had an offensive lineman doing the quarterback cadence. And I threw a flag on him. And the coach comes to me, I said, you're discerning the act of the defense by him doing the cadence. The offensive line cannot do the cadence.
So what we're getting into now, because it's happening up here, then it happens here, then now it makes its way down into NFHS. When they see the guard or the tackle, they'll put their hand forward, and then what does the center do? Snaps it. Or the guard will reach over and hit the center, and what's he do? Snaps it. Now, we have not in NFHS, and I'm sorry, remote locations, you can't see, but you've seen it where the head bob, then the center will freeze, and then he'll bob it again, and then snap it. That is for all the linemen to have in their periphery. They're on the they're the visiting team, and they go on the second head bob. First,
second, and then he snaps it. It's all a timing deal. So be careful because it's part of the game. Now, if he's getting up there going hut, 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 snap, hut, hut, then we're into a different scenario. But if he's up here, snap, hand forward, snap, these are things that the defense now has to take into consideration because we're allowing some of this stuff. We're allowing hit, snap. So, but if they're making cadences, we're in a completely different ballgame. They can't make cadence. Just be careful with what they are allowed to do with some of the hand movement because we let them get away with some of this stuff.
At the beginning before the game, when we're talking to everybody, we're talking there, would it be good to maybe go up to the coach or find the quarterback and tell him about that and preventive officiating?
It would be great if you can go to the coach and say, hey, if you've got a 3rd and short, just make sure your quarterback does it in a fluid motion. There's nothing herky-jerky about it. He can still step forward and call for the ball. But if you'll watch, if you'll go in, and it hasn't been real bad in the past couple of years, but a few years ago, it was really, really bad because they would step forward and elaborately go, as opposed to where they were just receiving it and playing football. Receiving it and playing football. They would here, step back, defense would come forward. It was always on 3rd and short, 4th and short. We know what they were trying to do. But referees, you got to tune into the fact that it is 3rd and short, 4th and short. That's the only time that they're going to do it. So, they can sit there and do this as many times as they want, as long as it's not elaborate and just herky-jerky.
They gotta be consistent.
You gotta be consistent.
That'll get the coach to go and listen because he's already been warned.
Yeah, anything that you can go to, anything that you can go before the game and say, hey, coach, here's some things to think about. And not that we know you do it, it's just we're telling everybody, hey, just make sure your quarterback's fluid tonight, make sure your center, if he's got a head bob or anybody along the line that's helping us snap the football, just make sure we're doing it fluidly.
You really want to make a coach pissed. They have the quarterback do a large step with a guy in motion and they call the legal.
Yeah, and that's they get a pivot foot, they get one step.
Exactly.
They get a pivot foot just like in basketball, so we'll give them the pivot foot. They don't get to step multiple times.
And then you got a guy in motion, and all of a sudden you got 2 guys in motion. So.
All right, we've got about 10. We're going to go 10 minutes, and we're going to give Marty. I want one. Now, this I would not expect last year, the year before, the year before, the year before this to be called, but I don't have any idea who it is. It was just I was going through here. This is the play or a play that we have highlighted that we want to try to pick out and make a foul this year. And like I said, before now, it goes back to our first couple of weeks of discussion. We're going to try to pick some of this stuff up. Year before, nothing. Year before, nothing. It's just football. But just watch it. Think about it. We'll have a few minute discussion, and then we'll turn it over to Marty. Do that again. And like I said, this is something that this year, moving forward, because of the nature of the game, all right. Now, the reason, I'm sorry, they did not. That was not. And like I said, I don't know who it was. We weren't going to take any volunteers, but like I said, that was not something that we would think that was a penalty going into last year. Now, moving forward, here's the mechanics. When the ball carrier goes up the middle like that, the wing officials can't see the ball.
The referee and umpire are going to have to be more proactive about shutting these plays down. And we're telling everybody, all the way across all football, we have a hard time stopping this. The referee has a hard time shutting that down. The umpire has a hard time shutting that down, because if you go look at the clock, there's about 2.5 seconds that come off before he stops, and by the time the back of his head hits the ground. So, umpire, referee, just shut it down, get on your whistle as soon as forward progress is stopped. I don't know if you'll be able to alleviate the belly to back, it may or may not. The whistle may or may not do that. But umpire and referee are responsible for that forward progress to stop. And when you see an act like that where they pick them up and go over, that's what we were talking about at our first meeting. Just notice those types of actions, make them fouls, and they'll start cleaning that stuff up. And there's really no defense. Anybody can come up with. Now, the ball carrier's team doesn't say a word about it. The offensive team or the offensive team didn't react one thing. That's why I say there's nobody thinks that's a foul. Nobody's anticipating that to be a foul. But if we raise the awareness in the game, then things like that will stop. All right. Then I hope that we start raising the threshold a little bit to where we take some of this stuff out, and you don't have quite so much of this stuff hits away from the play that you have to deal with. Because I watched and the offense, you would think that the coach would be a little animated, not anyone reacted to that, but they should. And we've got to get them to the point where they react to those and they anticipate that action like that are fouls. But we got to raise our game up to get there. Anything?
Are you saying it'd be a 15-yard penalty or?
Yes. Yeah. That would be.
Well, it couldn't. Well, if it's foul, you could call it a 5-yard penalty for delay game.
No.
Yeah.
What he's talking about here, pick him up and
Jumped him.
Yeah.
On his head.
And ultimately, that's very dangerous.
That sounds like a 15.
What is it, David Gordon? Something is, what David Gordon talks about, those kind of things, he says, dangerous and unnecessary or something. You gotta catch those kind of things.
Do you need my computer for Zoom?
Yes, yeah. If you can stick around. Yeah, because you're the host.
I'm the owner.
You're the host.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. We'll see you. How many more meetings we got? Two more?
Two more.
Yeah, we didn't think this through very good.
Yeah, we didn't.
Hey, you know what? Are you gonna be here in the morning?
Yeah, I'll just
come back and get it.
Next week.
What time are you gonna be here?
Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm in court at 9 o'clock. What time do you want? But so I could meet you here before or something. We'll work it out. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna do our youth certification thing here in just a minute. Let us get some things squared around. Hold on, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. What's that? Oh. Okay. Oh, hold on. Boy, where is? Oh, here it is. Hey guys. All right, here's the QR code for the meeting. Everybody, oh, hold on. Just a second here.
Oh, seriously.
Are you looking for Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Trying to figure it out here.
Shit out of you.
Here, right here. See this Wi-Fi deal right down here in the bottom right? Where the Wi-Fi's at?
Yeah, but it didn't give me
Share
options.
the iPhone, click on that arrow. Here, you can click on that.
Oh, there we go.
Now
All right, there we go.
connect to that.
All right.
Come on, just take it off.
Oh, don't go away yet. I gotta get my phone. All right.
Take a picture of everybody.
Here, guys, look at it. Look at the screen. To give it to everybody else here.
Marty,
Yeah.
are the next two meetings the next two Tuesdays?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Marty, you have that kind of blocked. Can you put it more in the center? Thank you, sir.
All right, there you go. 396.
Yeah.
You may handle this out when you get to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
My folks not smart enough to figure this out, and I'm not one. I can't get it. Jack.
All right.
Camera. I didn't get a rec.
Okay, we should be good. All right, has everybody got it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Wait, oh, okay. I didn't get a record 2 weeks ago then. Thanks to this. My phone. Yeah.
All right.
He froze up a little bit. Can anybody? Can anybody hear anybody? I think we lost Marty. I think we lost Marty.
Is the meeting over now? Or what happened?
No, I think Marty's this has happened once before. I think we've got some kind he's got a glitch or something. I'm going to give him a call.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, I thought we had the Little League meeting now.
Yes, we're supposed to be having it right now. Yes, but apparently he's got some kind of issue.
Yeah.
So he might have to be logging back on.
Yeah, we're having problems. Just hang on a minute. I'm going to send you a new invitation.
Okay, because we're here. Vanita's here, Tyler's here, and a few others. All right, I just got off the phone with Marty. He's going to send everybody a new Zoom invitation.
No, because I don't want them to die.
Everybody
He
hear
just
that?
woke up. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get out of it and go to another Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I'm going to get out too. Everybody just leave it.